Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Free. I'm Ryan, I'm the pastor here, and it's good to be with you on another Saturday evening. We have people in person here at Free. We have you all in your living rooms, in homes, in different Free circles all across the country. So glad you're with us tonight. This community, we are a place for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we like to do here at Free is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you just stumbled upon us scrolling through your Facebook page or YouTube, welcome. We're glad you're here. Stick around. Maybe you're not here by accident. Maybe there's a word for you tonight. Maybe there's community for you tonight. So stick around. We're glad you're here. If you're with us, I invite you, if you're watching on Facebook, to hit the share button. Share this with your friends, family. We're in this new series as of last week called The Grudge. Tonight we're talking about revenge. We're going to look at forgiveness. What is forgiveness? How does it function? What isn't forgiveness? So glad y'all are here, and I want to begin with Danny Colella is in the house tonight. He's going to give us some of the good word about what's happening here at Free coming up. Welcome, Danny.
What's up, man? Hey, Free Spiritual Community. Good to see you all. Yeah, I got it. All right. Good to see y'all. Welcome again. If you're here, you're not here by accident. We're happy you're here. And we want to talk about some events that are coming up. So what we have coming up this Wednesday is a Calling All Men service opportunity. So it's this Wednesday, the 23rd, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. If you want to come to this event, make sure you get contact with Rev Rye directly. He'll give you details on the location. It's going to be light yard work, right? Kind of.
Yeah, we're helping someone in need, someone who needs our help.
Yeah, they're helping a woman in need that needs our help around her house and doing some stuff around her house. So this is a great service opportunity for you to give back in your community and feel like you're a part of the community.
And we'll go for pizza afterwards.
And you get pizza afterwards. Love that. Woo! And we are resurrecting Sober Open Mic Night.
Yes.
Give us some hearts and thumbs if you've been to some of our last Sober Open Mic Nights. They were a great time to just kind of connect and let musicians kind of do their thing. So we are getting it back and going on September 30th at 7 p.m. If you want to perform, get in contact with anybody here at Free. We'll get you in contact with Rob Lohman from Lifted from the Rut, and we can schedule you to do poetry, to do music, whatever it is that is artistic to you. We've had people come and paint, but we want you to be here, okay? Next up, we've got baptism. So we've had one successful baptism here at Free. It was really amazing. That's our girl Jamie right there, who got baptized in the big wagon here at Free. So October 17th, we're doing another baptism here at Free. If you by chance have felt called to be baptized, if you've just journeyed so far in your relationship with God that you feel like it's time for you to take that next step, then we invite you on the 17th to come and be a part of the baptism. Again, to do that, just get a hold of anybody here at Free, Pastor Ryan, anybody, to kind of get yourself on there. I think we already have how many people?
I think we've got 3 or 4 as of now.
3 or 4 as of now. So you won't be alone. It's a great sort of step in your relationship with God, and we would love to have you come and to give you a little taste of what it's going to be like. We got a short little video, so check it out.
So when we go into baptism in this Free community, it is remembering that God is already well pleased with you. No matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, God is well pleased, because God's love isn't dependent on what you do.
All right, how cool was that? So we want you to, if you want to be a part of baptisms, then we want you to sign up for that. And next up, we have one of our leads here, Andrew, had a baby, who is here tonight. We've got little Kinsey here with us tonight. And everybody knows the fun of going through diapers when you have a new little baby at home. So we're asking to do a diaper drive here at Free. So if you're interested in dropping off diapers for any size, right now she's a newborn, but any size diapers, because they're easily returned, we want you to kind of come, drop some diapers off, and help out Andrew and Tani with diapers for their new little baby girl. So just drop those off at Free, or get a hold of us if you're not around and you want to actually deliver those or ship them through Amazon. We understand. And lastly, free circles are swinging. So we have 3 total free circles meeting tonight. If you want to go to one of our free circles, why do we do free circles? Because we want you at home, the people that are watching at home, and you're ready to take that next step. We want you to have a space to go to dive a little deeper in your relationship with others, to dive a little deeper in the content here at Free. So to sign up for these free circles, just go to freespiritualcommunity.com. Right below us, you see Hazelbrook, Free Spiritual Community, Akron Sober Living. You click any of those buttons, it'll take you to a sign up genius. The spots are limited for these, so you got to go in, you got to sign up, and if you sign up, you can be a part of the free circle. So Rye, why are these free circles so important?
Yeah, well, hey, first of all, let's welcome Hazelbrook Sober Living. They're our newest free circle. They're starting tonight, so welcome, y'all. So glad you're with us. And these are important because the goal is to create community wherever you are. As you know, we're still in the midst of COVID. We can't get everyone in this space, so how can we create community in your own living room, at the park, at the coffee shop, wherever you are, to get people around on a Saturday night, engage the service together, talk about the content together. Maybe y'all even want to go a little further and gather throughout the week. We've got ideas for you. If you're looking for ideas, you can certainly get in touch with me, but it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what state you're in. You can still be part of this free spiritual community. We would love to welcome you in. So if that is something you've been thinking about, if that's something you're interested in, please do get in touch with me. You can text me. My cell phone is 303-944-5061, or you can shoot me an email, ryan@freespiritualcommunity.com. We would love to have community engagement all over the country, all over the world, all over the world. We don't exclude any country. All right, thank you, Danny Colella, for giving us a good word. And men, I hope you come this Wednesday night. Get in touch with me. We're going to do some labor work, and then we're going to go for pizza together, so it's going to be fun. I hope you come. All right, we are going to move into our celebrations. It's how we start here at Free. If you're new with us, we start with celebrating. We don't ignore the hard stuff. We don't ignore the heartaches. We just end with that stuff. But we start with the good news. So take 3 minutes and give us the good news. I know there's some good news out there. So give us the good news in the comments. Get vulnerable with one another. We believe that God joins with us in these celebrations, that God is clapping with us. We know that a couple of thousand people will be clapping with you this week as you celebrate, as they watch the replay of this, as they engage on YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is. This is about creating community and celebrating together. It can feel a little awkward when you're typing in a comment if you're new with us, but we encourage you to get a little awkward, get a little vulnerable, and let's do community together. So give us the good news. Maybe it's sobriety anniversaries, birthdays, new babies born. What's that? New jobs. Yeah, whatever it is, give us the good news. Take 3 minutes, and then we'll come back and read some of those comments with you. 3 minutes, y'all.
Got a big heart, I can let you in. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. On top of the world. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world. On top of the world. People ask me what my secret is, I just smile and say, live for today. I'm sitting
All right, welcome back, everybody. There we go. We got some muting done in the house. Man, it is always so good to celebrate with you all. So we're going to throw some on the screen and do this thing together because we love to celebrate together. I'm higher than you. I should drop down a little bit, huh?
Your hair's
go.
kind of getting cut off. There you go.
My hair's growing too long. Look at it. All right, Drew, you got some good news for us? You want to start,
Take
Tim?
it. Lex celebrated 11 years sober. Love you, man, and congrats. Lex, woohoo!
Way to go, Lex!
That's huge.
Woo!
And Lex is having a free circle.
Free circle
In
at the
Akron.
Akron house. Yes. Welcome,
I hope
Akron
you guys are all
house.
celebrating and hooting and hollering over there.
Yeah, we
too.
love y'all. Steve Epps says, celebrating a safe return home to Indianapolis, Indiana, after a health scare this weekend. Yeah, Kelly was just giving us the update on that. So we're celebrating the safe return, Steve, and we're also praying with you, and we'll get to that later in the service, I'm assuming. But glad you're with us.
Yes,
glad
we
you
are.
returned safely.
Absolutely. God is good. Monique, it's good to have you here. Yeah, some good connections with Monique. You guys have all circled around Monique and sent her some love and some messages, and we're grateful to have you part of this community. So glad you're here, Monique.
Yes, and if we can go back to Monique really quickly. Yes, Monique, glad you're here. And this community did surround her when she was getting ready to go into heart surgery. And
They found the clot, she said.
They found the clot, yes. And so I just continue prayers for you too, Monique. We're with you. We're glad you're here in this community. Stay strong. All right. Jennifer, is this
Yeah.
yours?
I'll take it
All right, you take
because I
it.
like her. And Jennifer's going to be in the house at Free next week from North Carolina. She has found out about Free and she celebrated 1 year, what was it, early September, Jen? So she wanted to celebrate with Free.
That's awesome.
In Free. So her and Christy are flying in next weekend and will be in the house. So,
And we can't wait to meet y'all.
but that wasn't your celebration. That was my celebration. So from
That's
Jen.
gonna be fun.
Oh, can we go back? So she said took a service opportunity as a greeter at her home group. So very cool, Jen.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Awesome. Pam says 2 possible job opportunities. Fingers crossed. Way to go, Pam. Praying with you, celebrating with you.
Good stuff, Pam. From Greg, we are celebrating that our home went under contract. Really? Okay. I'm learning this now too. And we're starting our journey to North Metro Denver and starting a free circle there.
All right.
Good, good,
Way to
good.
go,
Awesome, guys.
Greg and Rachel, yes. Sue
Sue.
says, I'm on top of the world. I've had a low stress week after the last 2 to 3 months. That is celebration worthy.
Heck yeah, it is.
Yes, stress is a
Good.
bad thing for the body. We just talked about that in here a minute ago.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue.
Glad
Celebrating
you're here,
with you.
Sue. From Stephen, younger daughter turned 25. She's doing well, working in Congress and growing every day. A beautiful young lady. 25. That's a good one to
All
celebrate.
right. Yeah, we're celebrating that with you. Mike Anderson
Hey, Mike.
says, happy to have found some place to help me grow spiritually in recovery, Mike. We're glad you're here. Thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out to be part of a community. Important stuff. Celebrating that with you.
Absolutely. From Jane, it's a new year, a time for new beginnings and better days ahead. Yeah.
Lashana Tova.
Lashana
Yeah.
Tova.
The Hebrew.
I like it.
Yep. A new year. Is there any others, Drew?
Yeah, sorry, you got stuck. Give me 1 sec.
We had a technical difficulty. Carla says, hey, welcome, Carla. Glad you're here. Happy my daughter's moving home. We know she's moving. We're not all of us are happy about it, but we're going to celebrate with you. We believe it's some good news. She's leaving us here in Denver and moving away, but we're celebrating that with you, and we trust it's going to be good for Miranda.
Yeah.
All right.
John, our kids arrived safely in Seattle and are there for the week visiting their sister. Very good
Right.
stuff, John.
Good
Awesome,
stuff.
guys. And
Celebrating that
Leslie.
with you. John and
Yeah.
Leslie in the house tonight.
Couple more.
Okay, and Miranda says she's moving away, but on the 29th, God willing, I will have 5 years sober. Way to go, Miranda! So
What do
awesome.
we say? Can I get a whoop?
Did we say that?
I say that.
Can I get a whoop? All right. The things we do here.
Last one.
Last one. Let's do one more.
On a plane to Denver, Simon.
It'll be so good to have you all back.
Been too long. We miss you and Romy, and so
Yes.
excited to have you guys back.
And safe travels. All right. All right, y'all. Thank
All
you,
right.
Tammy, for joining me.
See you later.
It's always good to have you up here with me. And what's that?
You went down. Go back up a little.
Oh, I need to go back up. There we go. Back up. Is that up enough, Drew?
I like it.
I'm gonna go one more.
Okay.
All right. So we're in, as I said just a minute ago, we're in the second part of the series called The Grudge, the painful things that we're holding on to. And tonight I want to go deep into the heart of forgiveness. Not forgiveness, we're going to talk about forgiveness, but revenge is part of this. And does revenge work? So before we get there, let's watch this little kickoff video and then we'll get into some things. When we are talking about the grudge and the painful things that we're holding on to, what we're really talking about is forgiveness. And so I want to spend this week and next week going into forgiveness a bit, this Saturday and next Saturday. So I do hope you plan on joining us. And what I've noticed about when we get into conversations about forgiveness, this thing in our culture has been so twisted and manipulated and misrepresented and misunderstood. And so I think it's oftentimes important to start with what forgiveness isn't. So I want to share with you very briefly 5 things about what forgiveness isn't. These things have helped me along the way. Maybe you resonate with them too. And we're just going to breeze through these. But the first thing, forgiveness is not condoning what they did. I can't tell you all how many people I talk to that say, well, Pastor, I can't forgive that person. Because if I forgive them, if I go to them and forgive them, then it's going to be me telling them what they did is okay, and it's not okay. No. Forgiveness is not about you condoning what they did. Number 2. Forgiveness is not waiting for them to admit what they did, because my brothers and sisters, that day may never come. If your forgiveness of the other person or the other people is dependent on them owning their stuff, them keeping their side of the street clean, well, that day may never come. You may be waiting forever. Forgiveness is still possible, and it's not dependent on the other person because it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. Number 3. Forgiveness is not eliminating the consequences or preventing justice. In other words, you can go and extend the gift of forgiveness to someone. You can accept the gift of forgiveness from someone, but that doesn't necessarily mean there are not going to be very real consequences for some of the actions that were taken. Number 4. Forgiveness is not forgetting what happened. In fact, one of the greatest lies we can live into when it comes to this forgiveness stuff is just forgive and forget. Forgiveness is not forgetting. In fact, when we live into that lie, what you'll see happen oftentimes is really unhealthy boundaries in your life or a severe lack of boundaries in your life. Number 5. Forgiveness is not necessarily reconciliation. Now, in best case scenarios, you go to the person, you extend forgiveness, you accept that forgiveness, and reconciliation happens. The relationship experiences some healing. Best case scenario, but not always. Sometimes the pain is too deep. Sometimes the wounds are too deep. Sometimes the wrongs were too great. And to actually try to reconcile that relationship would cause more harm and more damage. It is not always reconciliation. But here's what I do know about what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is about you giving up the right to get them back. I mean, have you ever been stepped on or wronged or betrayed? by another person or by other people. And maybe it was from someone that you love, someone that you're close to, someone that you trusted. And you became obsessed with getting them back. You know, it's just the other day we were sitting out on our back patio. Me, our 4-year-old son, Breck, and our 7-year-old daughter, Shiloh, and we were having lunch together. It was this beautiful afternoon, but Breck and Shiloh, they were at it all morning, picking at each other, one going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And Shiloh, while we were eating our lunch, she came up behind Breck and she did the unthinkable sin, the unforgivable sin. She flicked him in the ear as he was eating his Lunchable. Now, whatever kind of flick this was, it completely set Breck off. He stood up and he picked up his blue plastic lawn chair. That is his blue plastic lawn chair that he sits in. It's his little chair, and he picks it up and he stands up and his face is red. He holds this blue plastic lawn chair over his head and he's chasing Shiloh around the yard with this blue plastic lawn chair. And I'm yelling at Breck, dude, you got to put down the chair. You cannot throw that chair at your sister. And he turns around and he looks at me with this blue plastic chair above his head, and he's got tears running down his face. And he says to me, Poppy, she hurt me and I have to get her back. Yeah. Have you ever been wounded or betrayed or stepped on, and you became obsessed, consumed with getting them back? Or have you ever quietly hoped for suffering to come their way? In fact, when suffering came their way, you got the sense that all had been made right in the world. When bad things happened to them, it had a way of making you feel good inside. My friends, this is called revenge. And revenge isn't forgiveness. And I know you've seen it. You know exactly how it works. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it can go on for so long that you don't even know where the thing started. You can't even articulate it anymore. It's so out of control, and you can't even name how the thing started. And I know you all have seen it. Maybe you have lost your moral compass, or maybe you have seen others, when you're in the heart of revenge, lose their moral compass along the way, that all of a sudden you are now doing things that you didn't do before. You are now doing things that are so contradictory to your values. They're so out of alignment with your integrity. So what I want to do is look at this really fascinating story with you. Some of y'all have heard this story before. It comes from the Old Testament book of Judges, Judges chapter 15. And I want to continue looking with you at the problem of revenge. And here's the thing. When you read this story, you might say to yourself, man, this thing is so primitive. It is so barbaric. It is so over the top. Why are we reading this story? Yeah, that's okay. Keep saying that as we read this story, but also I want to invite you to find yourself in this story. It's so primitive, so barbaric, so over the top, and yet it's what makes it so true. And this story is about a man named Samson, and Samson is an Israelite. And he falls in love with this woman who is a Philistine. And long story short, the Israelites and the Philistines, they don't get along. They're enemies, and they've been in this long-standing conflict with each other. And Samson has been off in battle, and he's returning home. And here's where we pick up in the story. Judges chapter 15. We'll be in the first 16 verses, and we'll skip around a little bit. Later on, at the time of the wheat harvest, Samson went to visit his wife, bringing along a young goat. Yes, it's an ancient story. Bear with it. He said, "Let me go into my wife's bedroom." But her father wouldn't allow him to go in. Her father said, "Samson, I was so sure that you had completely rejected her, that I gave her away in marriage to one of your companions, one of your best friends. But look, don't you think her younger sister is even better? Let her be your wife instead. Samson replied. Think Samson was happy about this? Samson replied, no one can blame me now for being ready to bring down trouble on the Philistines. Let's pause there for just a moment. Because isn't this exactly how revenge starts? Think about revenge in your own life. Think about the cycles you've seen happen in your life. Isn't this exactly how it begins? You did this. Now no one can blame me for what I'm about to do. I have the right to get you back. Let's keep going. The story gets way better. Then Samson went and caught 300 foxes. He took torches, turned the foxes tail to tail, and put a torch between each pair of tails. He lit the torches and released the foxes into the Philistines' grain fields. So he burned the stacked grain, standing grain, vineyards, and olive orchards. And let's pause there for just a moment. Samson's angry, isn't he? He's angry, and here's what's happening. He's entering into the very heart of revenge, and what does he do? He does exactly what you or I would do. He gets 300 foxes, ties them together butt to butt, then he jams a torch in between their butts, and then he lights this torch on fire, and he sends them into the fields. Crazy, isn't it? Why would he do this? Economic destruction. These fields are the Philistines' livelihood. Burn it down. It's major economic destruction. 300 foxes with their butts lit on fire running through the fields. Well, let's keep going. It keeps getting better. The Philistines inquired, who did this? So it was reported, Samson did it, because his father-in-law gave his wife in marriage to one of his companions. So the Philistines went up and burned her and her father to death. Samson then responded to them, if this is how you act, then I won't stop until I get revenge on you. Let's pause for one more moment. Revenge blinds us, doesn't it? Revenge keeps us from seeing our role in the situation, our part in it. It keeps us from seeing clearly, oh, if this is how you act, then I won't stop until I get my revenge. And it's like Samson has already forgotten about the 300 foxes. He's already forgotten. He can't see his role in the story. So here's how it ends. He struck them hard, taking their legs right out from under them. And I'm skipping a few verses. Samson left and he found this cave that he went to, and 3,000 of his own men come and join him in this cave. And they say to him, don't you realize that the Philistines rule over us? What have you done to us? You pulled us in this mess with you. But Samson said to them, I did to them just what they did to me. Yeah, revenge always justifies itself, doesn't it? And have you ever noticed in your life when you engage in revenge, you're pulling in other people with you. You're trying to get people on your side. You're trying to pull them into the mess with you. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because as outsiders, we could say, yeah, what they did is wrong. And then in retaliation, that was wrong too. But let's keep doing the wrong thing and let's see how it turns out. Revenge always messes with our moral compass. It will always take from us. So in the story, the way it ends is it goes back and forth with Samson and the Philistines, and he gets tied up, and then he ends up breaking free of these ropes. And the last two verses go like this. Samson, he found a donkey's fresh jawbone, picked it up, and used it to attack 1,000 men. Samson said, with a donkey's jawbone, stacks on stacks, with a donkey's jawbone, I've killed 1,000 men. It is a weird story, isn't it? And I know we laugh and we say things like this to ourselves, man, I would never do that. Man, my ways of revenge are much more sophisticated. And think about how the story begins. It begins with Samson, his wife, and his wife's father, and then it ends with Samson holding a donkey's jawbone, killing 1,000 men. And in the middle of it all, his wife and his father-in-law are burned to death, and 300 foxes are tied together butt to butt with torches jammed in between their butts, running through a field, lighting the fields on fire. I mean, do you see how revenge always escalates? It never goes down. It always escalates. Now, here's the thing. If we could go back in time and ask Samson, after he had a moment to catch his breath, after he had a moment to sit for a minute, Samson, did it work? I mean, did you get enough? Are you done now? Because that's always the problem with revenge, isn't it? Did you get enough? And how do you know when you got enough? How do you know when enough is enough? Did it work? Of course it didn't work. You know the Philistines are going to be back tomorrow or next week or in just a few days. Here's a man who was wounded and dying inside. Things were taken from him, things that were important. His wife was given to his best friend. And he gets into this cycle of revenge. And if you've ever been there, you know that revenge steals. It steals from you. It steals your dignity. It takes your integrity. And if you stay there long enough, it will take your soul. Does revenge ever work? Has someone ever gotten you back and you said, "Oh, thank you. I mean, what a learning opportunity for me. Thank you for that. Now I can see the error of my ways." No, revenge, it hurts, and it's meant to hurt. It causes pain, and it keeps the pain and the violence in circulation. And I get it. Revenge is everywhere, isn't it? When we look around culturally, revenge is everywhere. It is the narrative we've been raised in. It's the narrative we were born into. And scholars call this, they call it the myth of redemptive violence. And the myth of redemptive violence says that, and don't think of a myth as a lie or an untruth, but it's stories that frame us and inform us and shape us. The myth of redemptive violence says that ultimately violence can redeem this situation. And we see it everywhere, don't we? One scholar even tracks it all the way back to 1200 BC. This story called it's a creation story, the Enuma Elish, where the good character overcomes the bad character through tremendous acts of violence, and redemption happens. And we can track it all the way through contemporary American culture, can't we? If you were born in the 80s, like I was, an 80s kid, you might have watched cartoons like Popeye, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Roadrunner. Remember Roadrunner? And it's always the same story. The good guy overcomes the bad guy. Good overcomes evil through how? Acts of violence. Violence can ultimately redeem the situation. Think of all the common phrases we say to one another. I'll get you back. I'll settle the score. I'll teach you a lesson. You drop bombs on us, we're going to drop bombs on you, except we're going to cause more destruction, because violence ultimately can redeem this situation. And does it ever work? Does God call us to revenge? And again, y'all, I get it. Sometimes in my life, the jawbone, it just makes so much sense. And the truth is, it's really easy to pick up the jawbone. It's easy to pick up the blue plastic lawn chair. And for much of my 20s, before I got sober, I walked through life holding that jawbone, and I would swing that thing around. And I lived my life saying, I will get you back. You're not going to hurt me again. This jawbone for me became a protective mechanism. You're not going to hurt me again. No one's going to hurt me again. And I was like Samson. I was wounded. I was dying inside. I was miserable. I felt like things had been taken from me. Important things in my life were taken from me. I felt betrayed, and no one's going to hurt me. And so you hold that jawbone up. I had people in my life where I couldn't even say their name, because to say their name caused such a visceral reaction, such an anger came out of me. And y'all, it's true. You know this is true. Hurt people hurt people. And man, when I pick up the jawbone, I create a great path of destruction. When I hold on to that thing long enough, when I'm stuck in the heart of revenge, I am no different from Samson. And see, when I got sober, I still had all this rage and anger. And I remember getting in these shouting matches with God. Usually it was driving home late at night, leaving my sponsor's house, and I'd get in these shouting matches with God. God, I'm never going to forgive them. I am not going to forgive them. Okay, God, maybe I'll forgive them, but I've got to get them back first. And y'all, I remember sitting with one of my mentors, and he read me this story from Judges 15. And after he came to that last verse of Samson picking up the jawbone and killing 1,000 men, he looked me in the eyes and he said, Ryan, are you ready to drop the jawbone yet? And see, during that time, when I got sober and I started working through the 12 steps, my sponsor, he had me pray this paragraph from what's called the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a paragraph. It's found at the end of page 66, the top of page 67. And he had me turn this paragraph into a prayer. And what this paragraph says is that we realize that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick too. And God help me show them the same patience, pity, and tolerance that I would cheerfully grant a sick friend. And y'all know how the paragraph ends? It became the most saving prayer of my life. God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. Save me from being angry. Thy will be done. And man, what I can tell y'all is, over time, I was able to let go. It wasn't overnight. It didn't happen overnight. It was a process of letting go. God, save me from being angry. God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Are you like Samson? Have you found yourself in your life, you've been hurt? You've been betrayed. You've been stepped on, and maybe it's by people that you love. People that you've trusted, people you looked up to, they disappointed you. And now you're standing there with that jawbone in the air or that blue plastic chair chasing someone around the yard. And you're saying, I will get you back. You're not going to hurt me again. I'll show them. I'll teach them a lesson. You see, maybe the process of forgiveness begins with putting down the jawbone, putting down the chair. And if you're clinging to it, if you're unable to let go of it, allow me to make a suggestion, because the truth is you probably can't let go of it on your own. We're not very good at it. We cling to it, and that's why this is a spiritual project. It's spiritual work. You've got to rely on others. You've got to rely on the help of God, and in my experience, it comes with a lot of prayer. God, save me from being angry. God, save me from being angry. God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. See, because forgiveness isn't about them. Forgiveness is about you and you being free. And my brothers and sisters, if you are clinging on to the jawbone, you're not free. If you are consumed with getting them back, you are not free. If you cannot say that person's name, you are not free. If you are obsessed with revenge, you're not free. And forgiveness is about you being free. God, save me from being angry. Thy will be done. God, help me let go. You know, we so commonly, and we'll do it tonight, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. If you go to 12-step meetings, you know that we commonly end or begin with the Lord's Prayer. And so I want to give you all just a moment. You're going to hear the Lord's Prayer and song. And there's going to be some questions on the screen, and it's about 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes. And I want you to reflect on these questions. Are there things in your life you need to let go of? Is there forgiveness that needs to happen in your life? Are you consumed with anger and with getting them back? And what would it look like for you to drop it, to put it down? So take 3 minutes and reflect. As always, you're welcome to interact and engage with this community. You can do so in the comments if things come to your mind and heart. We love to hear from you. I know this community, we do it together, so this community loves to learn from your experience. So take 3 minutes and reflect on this beautiful song, this beautiful prayer, and these questions.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory
All right, welcome back. I hope you were able to find some quiet time and to reflect. And listen, y'all, if you're struggling with this stuff, because this is the heavy stuff, this is the hard stuff. If we had this stuff nailed, we wouldn't need to talk about it. If you're struggling, don't leave here tonight without talking to someone, opening up with someone, sharing. Don't leave your free circle without sharing. Connect with this community this week, because what I know about this community is there's so many people here who are willing to walk with you, but you got to reach out. You got to connect. So I encourage you to do so. And I want to let y'all know what's happening Monday night. Monday night, we are going to have our guest storyteller in the house. Her name is Pastor Rachel Fries. She is, I said it in the Facebook post, she's helping a lot in this free community. She is one of us. She's going to be sticking around and hanging around. They've already started their free circle, but she's especially interested in starting more groups for women and leading some women's groups. And she's been leading our women's hikes, and she's just been knocking it out of the park. She's going to be hanging out here at Free during the day throughout the week to connect with you all. So I want y'all to get to know her. I'm going to introduce her to you on Monday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Tune in. She's also going to share with us some of her recovery story and some of her experience on how she's dealt with the grudge, how she's dealt with the painful things we've held on to, and what that looks like in her life. So 7 p.m. Monday night. Be here. It's going to be good. Here's a little video about our guest storyteller, and then we'll move on to heartaches. Rachel Freeze, ladies and gentlemen, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday, this Monday. All right, y'all, we're going to move into our time of heartaches. It's how we end things here at Free because we believe in carrying the burdens together. And I know y'all carry heavy things throughout the week, heavy things this week. And so what we do is we lift these things up in prayer. We have a prayer team here at Free that prays for you and connects with you throughout the week. Jason McKissick, who will join me in just a moment, he leads his prayer team. And so you're going to have 3 minutes. Put them in the comments. And again, y'all, I know for some of you that's awkward to just type a comment and you're like, are people going to judge me? I promise you we don't do judgment in this community. We don't do shame. We do lift one another up. We encourage one another. But these burdens are too heavy to carry on your own. You weren't meant to carry those heavy loads on your own. That's what community is for, and that's what we want Free to be about. So take 3 minutes, give us the burdens, the heartaches, the hard things you're dealing with in life so we can encourage one another, pray for one another, lift you up. All right, y'all, 3 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I have Jason McKissick next to me. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad you're here. Hey, we want to read some of your heartaches and burdens so we can be in this thing together and do community together. So, Jason, I'm going to let you take the first one, brother.
Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. This is for Monty. Lived in Oregon for 20 plus years. Please pray for all those who lost their homes, businesses, and loved ones in the fires. Yes,
Yeah,
there's a lot of fires going on.
So many fires happening here in
all
the
the
West.
West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, keep them in your
Yeah.
prayers. Thank you, MJ, for lifting them up. Pamela said, my son has a long road and there are no guarantees. And y'all know we've been praying for her son for many, many weeks. This whole thing caused a rift between my brother and I hate that. I pray that we find a way to mend fences. I hope that too. Prayers for you, Pam, during this very difficult time. And I hope that you find a way to. Important stuff. Thanks for including us in on that and letting the community walk with you in this. Prayers for you.
All right. This is for Steve. Pray for my mother who had a health scare this weekend. Her and her family that lives and support us. Yes, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. So Steve made it there safely.
Yeah.
And prayers for your mom. That's why he left, is to go be with his mom who had a health scare. So prayers for your mom, Steve. Let her know we're praying for her and praying for you too, brother. Greg says,
Cody.
what's that?
It's Cody.
Cody, yes. All right. Greg says, please pray for the people who are still losing their jobs due to the evil pandemic. Yes. Thank you for lifting that up, Greg. Lots of people are struggling out there, struggling with work and losing jobs, and we're going to keep lifting them in prayer. And if you all, I'll just say this, if you all know of people in need in this community, please put them in touch with us. We're able to help out some financially, so we have a fund set aside for those affected by COVID. So please do put them in touch with me, and we would not just pray for people with our words, but to actually put some in action. So put them in touch with me if you know of those in need. And thank you, Greg, praying for them. Thanks for lifting them up.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Thank you. This is for Jane. T's not easy being a cop. It's not easy being cop these days.
Cop mom, yeah.
Cop mom. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prayers for you, Jane. Yeah, what a tough journey you're walking with that, and we know it's not easy. So praying for you during this time. Thank you for letting this community in on that. Desiree says, pray for my mom, or pray for my dad, for he is not doing well with his heart. He went back to the docs and took a bunch of tests. I pray to God he listens to me. If I lost him, I would just break into pieces, literally. Prayers for you, Desiree, and prayers for your dad during this time. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you. That's all right. Thank you. This is for Jennifer. I asked for prayer for my mom, Patricia. Open our heart. Hope her to see me to or hear me. Amen. Yes. Pray for that connection.
Yeah,
That's
prayers for
very
mom.
important. Yeah.
Carla says, pray for my niece who has slipped back into her addiction after 10 months clean. Dang, don't y'all hate hearing that? And it happens.
It happens a lot during this pandemic.
It has happened. There's a lot of relapse going on right now. We've got to stay connected. So prayers for your niece, Carla. And it's never too late to get back on the wagon.
All right, this is our last one.
Let's do one more. Yeah.
Right. Kathy, praying for peace and those that are brothers and sisters unite as one. And that's what we need to do at this time. Come together as one.
Yep, we're going to pray that with you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Thanks for lifting that up.
Thank you.
Important work. Thank you, Jay, for being with me.
Wow.
Love you, brother. Glad you're part
Love
of this
you too,
community. Glad you keep us in line each week with our prayer team and lifting people up throughout the week. I want to close with just saying a word about the wagon and giving. Y'all know in this community, we are the wagon together. I say it all the time. I'll say it a couple of times tonight. We don't do shame in this community. We lift one another up. We pray for one another. We encourage one another. If you fall off the wagon, we don't kick the wounded. We try to be the wagon together. We stop the wagon and we try to help people back on and create that space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. We want to be the wagon together. Now, if you were here in person, you would see that a wagon, it's always, since day one of when we started, it's always been a central image in this community. On the wagon sits our donation box, one of our donation boxes. We have them scattered throughout free. But what I can tell y'all is giving, it sustains this community. It sustains the work we do here at Free. And we realize this is a spiritual practice of giving. And we are so grateful for those of you that give, whether it's one time, whether it's ongoing giving. And no matter the amount, really, no donation, no giving is too small. We're so, so grateful for your work, your help in this work that we do. And I do want to remind you, there are 3 ways to give in this community. And the first way to give here at Free is to download the app. It's free. You can find the giving button there, and it's really easy. It's safe. It's simple. You can also go to the website, freespiritualcommunity.com. You can hit on giving there and do the same thing as the app, or you can text Be the Wagon to the number on your screen. It'll take you through a process. It too is safe and secure. And I want to remind you, your generous giving here sustains the mission, and the mission is to be a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. People who feel like they've been kicked around by religion. They've been told they don't belong when it comes to the God stuff. We're here to say you do belong. You belong, and we want to create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. So good to be with you all this it's not morning, it's evening. It's good to be with you all tonight. If you are struggling, maybe it's time to put down the jawbone. Maybe forgiveness begins with putting it down. What is God calling you to? Do you need some forgiveness in your life? Yeah, are you tired, exhausted, weary? Yeah, you can break the cycle with God's help, with the help of other people. My brothers and sisters, my free brothers and sisters, today, may you experience grace and peace along the journey. So good to be with you. We will see you soon.
We're going to go out with the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, yes, we should go out with the Lord's Prayer. Since we sang it, we should also say it. If you don't know the Lord's Prayer, it will be on your screen. We'll go out with it. It goes like this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, y'all. We'll see you soon.